Have you ever noticed the loudest person in the room is rarely the wisest? True intelligence doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It moves quietly, like water carving stone, like fire glowing steady through the night. And here's the secret. The most intelligent women, the most grounded men, don't waste energy proving themselves. They watch, they listen, they guard their inner flame, and they speak with intention. Their presence alone is enough. In this series, we're going to explore the habits that create that kind of presence. Habits that may look simple from the outside, but practiced consistently, they change everything. How you carry yourself, how you connect with others, how you find peace in a noisy, restless world. So if you've ever felt drained by chaos, overlooked in the noise, or simply curious about how to live with more dignity and clarity, this journey is for you. Take a breath, slow down with me, because what you're about to discover is not just information, it's a way of life. And if this message speaks to you, I invite you to stay until the end, reflect with me, and join this community of quiet strength.
There is a kind of intelligence that doesn't need to shout. It doesn't race to be noticed. It doesn't fill every silence with noise. It moves quietly, like water. It shapes everything around it, often without anyone even realizing it. This is the intelligence of silent observation. 1. The forgotten skill. In our modern world, silence is almost seen as weakness. If you're quiet in a meeting, people assume you have nothing to add. If you pause before answering, they assume you're uncertain. Society rewards those who talk fast, post constantly, and always have an opinion ready. But let me share a truth with you. What's loud is not always wise, and what's quiet is not always empty. The art of silent observation is one of the most underestimated yet most powerful skills you can practice. It's the doorway to wisdom, to empathy, to presence. 2. What observation really is. Observation is not just noticing what's in front of you. It's not glancing around and saying, "I see what's happening." No, observation is deeper. It's an inner stillness that allows you to see beneath the surface. When you truly observe, you notice the layers others miss, the hesitation in someone's voice, the tension behind a smile, the subtle shift in energy when a subject is mentioned. Observation is listening without rushing to respond. It's watching without immediately judging. It's waiting, patiently, until the truth reveals itself. 3. A story of the quiet one. Think about a crowded room. Everyone's talking, trying to be heard, competing for attention. Some are exaggerating, some are pretending, some are simply filling the air. And then there's the quiet one. She doesn't jump in right away. She doesn't scramble for the spotlight. She watches, she listens. And because she does, she sees what others miss. Who's genuine? Who's pretending? Who's leading with sincerity? And who's leading with ego? Later, when she finally speaks, her words carry weight. Not because she's louder, but because she's clearer. She's been paying attention. Her silence wasn't emptiness. It was preparation. It was strategy. 4. Observation as power. The mind wants to react quickly. It wants to defend, to argue, to prove itself. But wisdom waits. When you observe first and respond later, you preserve your dignity, you conserve your energy. You act with precision instead of impulse. Think about the difference between a hunter who rushes into the forest firing arrows at every sound, and one who waits patiently, quietly, watching the patterns of the animals. Which one is more likely to succeed? Observation is not passivity, it's intelligence in action. 5. Self-observation. Observation is not only about others, it's about yourself. The woman who learns to observe her own inner world becomes powerful in ways most never imagine. She notices her triggers before they explode into reactions. She sees when her patience is thinning, when her thoughts are clouded, when her emotions are pushing her to act in ways she'll regret. Every moment of noticing brings clarity, and clarity is freedom. Because when you can observe yourself, you are no longer a prisoner of your impulses. 6. Practical practices. So, how do you practice silent observation? Pause in conversation. Before answering, take one breath. Just one. That pause alone creates space for clarity. Notice the body. When emotions rise, pay attention to the physical sensations: tightness in the chest, heat in the face, shallow breath. Naming them weakens their grip. Watch without judging. In a crowded place, simply observe. Notice how people move, how they interact. Don't label, just see. Even these small practices, repeated daily, sharpen your perception. 7. Observation builds empathy. Here's another truth. Observation refines empathy. When you listen deeply, you begin to hear what others are truly saying, even when their words fail them. A rushed explanation may hide insecurity. A polite smile may cover exhaustion. Silent observation allows you to respond with compassion instead of assumption, to support when needed, to step back when appropriate. Ask yourself, in my relationships, am I responding to appearances or to the truth beneath them? 8. Observation conserves energy. We waste so much energy by reacting to everything. Every slight, every annoyance, every distraction pulls at us. But when you observe first, you filter what's worth your energy and what's not. You don't chase every conflict. You don't fight every battle. Your energy, like water in a river, flows where it matters, nourishing, shaping, sustaining. This is why the intelligent woman doesn't scatter herself. She directs her presence where it creates impact. 9. The humility of observation. The more you observe, the more you realize how much is unseen, and that realization humbles you. Humility, far from being weakness, is wisdom. It's knowing that no single perspective holds the whole truth. It's being patient enough to listen, curious enough to learn, and disciplined enough to wait. And in that humility, you gain strength, because people trust those who see clearly, but don't rush to judge. 10. Daily reflections. So let me ask you, gently, sincerely, how often do you act before seeing clearly? How often do you answer before listening fully? How might your relationships change if you paused, observed, and then chose your words carefully? Even one mindful pause, one deep breath, one moment of pure observation can shift the entire course of your day. Closing. Silent observation is not glamorous. It won't get you applause, but it will give you something more valuable: clarity, dignity, presence. It will help you see the truth behind words, the energy beneath actions, and the patterns shaping your own mind. So today, I invite you to practice, just once, in one conversation, one decision, one tense moment. Pause, observe, and notice what reveals itself in the silence. Because in that silence lies wisdom, and in that wisdom lies power.
Let me tell you something I've learned the hard way. Your energy is your flame, and if you don't protect it, the world will gladly burn it out. You see, every one of us carries a kind of inner fire. It's not always visible to the outside world, but it's there. It's the warmth in your presence, the focus in your mind, the calm in your spirit. And when that fire is strong, you feel alive, steady, and clear. But when it's scattered or stolen, you end up drained, resentful, and quietly exhausted. Now, here's the problem most people face. They let everyone else decide how their flame burns. They let noisy conversations, toxic environments, and endless obligations blow at their candle until it flickers weak. And then they wonder why they feel so tired at the end of the day, why they can't think clearly, why joy feels so far away. So let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself honestly, what in my life nourishes my flame, and what quietly steals from it? For some people, it's obvious. You meet a friend who always leaves you lighter, warmer, smiling without even realizing it. That's someone who adds fuel to your fire. But then there's the other kind of presence, the conversation where you walk away heavy, drained, like someone just stole the air from the room. That's a wind that blows against your flame. The intelligent woman and the intelligent man learns to tell the difference, and then they make choices accordingly. They don't keep standing in a storm pretending they'll be fine. They shield the flame. They protect it, not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom. Because without that inner fire, you can't show up fully for anyone, not even yourself. Think of it like carrying a candle through a windy street. You wouldn't hold it carelessly, letting every gust blow across it. You'd cup your hands around it. You'd guard it carefully, because you know if it goes out, you're walking in the dark. Your energy is the same way. Now, how do we guard it in real life? Not in some mystical sense, but in the daily, ordinary moments where energy is either spent well or wasted. The first step is awareness. Start noticing what truly nourishes you. Is it that 10 minutes of quiet in the morning with your coffee before the world wakes up? Is it a walk outside where your thoughts finally settle? Or is it reading a few pages of a book that inspires you, instead of scrolling through news that agitates you? These are the little fuels that keep your flame burning bright. And just as important, notice what drains you. Some conversations leave you frustrated for hours. Some environments, like noisy workplaces or constant chaos at home, chip away at your calm. Even your own habits can drain you. Saying yes when you should have said no, scrolling mindlessly when you could have been resting, letting guilt or fear run the show. If you can name them, you can guard against them. That's the power of awareness. The second step is boundaries. And this is where so many people struggle. They think saying no is selfish, or distancing themselves from draining people is unkind. But boundaries are not rejection. Boundaries are respect. Respect for your flame, for your time, for your life. So let me ask you, where in your life are the winds too strong? Who or what keeps leaning too close to your flame, threatening to blow it out? And what boundary, small, clear, deliberate, could shield it? Now, I want to be clear. Guarding your flame doesn't mean retreating from the world or living in isolation. Quite the opposite. When your flame is strong, you're more present, more generous, more alive. Protecting it isn't about cutting people off. It's about choosing where to give and where to preserve. And this brings us to the third step, daily practice. You can't expect your flame to burn bright if you never feed it. Just like a fire, it needs steady fuel. For some, that fuel is meditation. Just 10 minutes of sitting quietly, breathing deeply, letting the mind settle. For others, it's mindful breathing in the middle of a stressful day, or taking a deliberate pause before reacting. It can be focused work, where you give your full attention to one task without distraction, and then the deep rest that follows. The point is, small daily habits matter. They're not indulgence, they're discipline. They're the logs you place on the fire each day. Think about it. A single candle can light a dark room, but only if it's tended to. Only if it's shielded from the draft. Only if someone cares enough to keep it alive. Your energy works the same way. And let's not forget emotional responsibility. Too many people hand their flame to others, waiting for someone else to keep it burning. They rely on relationships, on approval, on constant reassurance to feel alive. But here's the truth. No one can guard your flame for you. It's yours. And the moment you stop depending on others to keep it alive, that's when your independence grows. That's when you carry both connection and self-respect. So let's reflect together. In what areas of your life have you allowed your flame to dim because you depended too heavily on others? And what would it look like to reclaim that energy today? I'll share something personal. There was a time in my life when I said yes to every request, every phone call, every meeting, every favor. And slowly, without noticing, my flame began to flicker. I was exhausted, short-tempered, and strangely disconnected from myself. Then I realized I wasn't protecting the most basic resource I had, my energy. When I began to guard it by saying no with clarity, by taking time alone, by surrounding myself with people who uplift rather than drain, everything changed. My relationships improved, my work sharpened, my mind felt lighter. Guarding your flame isn't selfish, it's survival. And more than that, it's the foundation for living with wisdom. So I want to leave you with 3 simple practices you can try today. Awareness pause. Before you agree to anything, pause and ask, will this nourish me or will it drain me? One honest question can save hours of regret. Energy journal. For 1 week, track moments that make you feel lighter and those that make you feel heavier. Patterns will appear, and you'll know where your flame is being fed or stolen. Protective ritual. Choose one daily act that shields your flame. It could be meditation, prayer, a walk, or simply 10 minutes of quiet. Make it non-negotiable. Guarding your inner flame doesn't mean hiding it. It means keeping it strong enough to share with the world, on your terms, with dignity and with presence. So as you move through your day, I invite you to notice, where are you letting the wind blow too hard on your flame? And what small act can you take to shield it, to feed it, to let it shine brighter, not just for you, but for everyone who walks into your light? Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs steady, glowing flames. People who are calm, clear and alive. And that begins with you, guarding the fire within.
There's a moment in every conversation when silence breaks. And in that moment, you choose. Scatter your words like seeds in the wind, or plant them carefully, like seeds in a garden. Most people speak to fill space. They talk to be heard, to prove a point, to avoid silence. But here's the truth. When every word carries weight, you don't need many. You don't need to shout or argue or rush. Your presence is already enough. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a room where someone spoke just one sentence and suddenly everyone stopped, turned, and listened? It wasn't because the words were long. It wasn't because they were clever. It was because they were chosen. That's the difference between speaking lightly and speaking with weight. Words as seeds. Picture your words as seeds in a garden. If you toss them carelessly, weeds will grow, confusion, misunderstanding, even hurt feelings. But if you choose them with intention, clear, precise, gentle when needed, firm when required, your words will grow into trust, clarity, and respect. The intelligent woman knows this. She doesn't speak just to hear her own voice. She speaks when there's something worth saying. And when she does, her words carry authority, not because she forces them, but because they're rooted in presence. Now here's the hard part. The mind wants to rush. It wants to interrupt, to prove, to defend. But wisdom waits. Wisdom listens. Wisdom knows that silence often carries more truth than a quick response. The power of timing. Even truth can harm if spoken at the wrong time. You know this. Maybe you've tried to correct someone in the heat of the moment, and instead of helping, it only made things worse. Timing matters. A teacher can wait 1 extra second before speaking, and in that pause, a lesson sinks deeper. A parent can wait until the anger in the room has cooled, and in that pause, their words can heal instead of wound. Speaking with weight means honoring timing, not just what you say, but when you say it. Silence, pause, and observation are your allies. Energy behind words. Every word carries energy. You felt it before. A kind word spoken softly can bring tears to your eyes. A harsh word thrown carelessly can sting for years. So ask yourself, what energy rides on my words? Am I planting flowers or weeds? Am I building up or breaking down? When you speak with weight, your words are not weapons, they are tools. Tools that can calm, clarify, inspire. And when you scatter fewer of them, each one becomes more valuable. A story to remember. I once worked with a man who almost never spoke in meetings. He would sit quietly, listening, while everyone else argued, interrupted, and repeated themselves. And just when the room felt tired of all the noise, he would clear his throat and say one thing, short, clear, and undeniable. And every time, that was the moment the room shifted. That was the moment decisions were made. He wasn't the loudest. He wasn't the fastest. But he was the one people trusted. Why? Because he spoke with weight. So how do you do it? How do you turn your speech into something people listen to instead of background noise? Step 1. Observe before you speak. Don't rush to answer. Let the other person finish. Let silence settle for a second. That silence alone adds gravity to your response. Step 2. Simplify your words. You don't need 10 sentences when one will do. In fact, the fewer words you use, the more people remember them. Step 3.
Align words with intention. Before you speak, ask yourself, what is my purpose here? Am I trying to help, to heal, to clarify, to lead? If the answer is unclear, maybe silence is the wiser choice. Step 4. Respect timing. Learn to hold back until the moment is right. Wisdom is not just in the content, but in the delivery. The dignity of measured speech. Here's what happens when you start speaking with weight. People begin to notice you differently. They may not always agree with you, but they will respect you. They'll lean in when you talk. They'll trust that when you open your mouth, it's worth listening to. And here's the deeper benefit. Speaking with weight also protects your energy. When you scatter words carelessly, you scatter yourself. You leak focus. You give away dignity. But when you choose carefully, you conserve strength. You move with intention. This isn't just communication. This is presence. This is dignity. Words that heal. We live in a world where words are thrown around like confetti, on screens, in conversations, in arguments. People talk more but connect less. And in the middle of all that noise, the person who speaks with weight stands out. Imagine this. Someone you love is hurting. You could talk for 10 minutes offering advice, solutions, explanations. Or you could hold their hand, pause, and say softly, "I'm here." Just 2 words. Yet those 2 words carrying the weight of presence may mean more than 100 speeches. That's the beauty of intentional speech. It carries healing. Questions for reflection. So let me ask you, when was the last time your words planted weeds instead of flowers? When have you spoken too soon, only to regret it later? And how might your relationships change if you began speaking less but with more weight? These are not criticisms. They're invitations to awareness, to growth, to deeper presence. Closing. The Stoics taught that we are not disturbed by things themselves, but by the opinions we form of them. In the same way, we are not defined by how much we say, but by the weight our words carry. So as you move through your day, I challenge you. Choose one moment to pause before you speak. One moment to breathe, to align, to wait. And then, when you do speak, let your words be few, but let them matter. Because words once released cannot be taken back. They either scatter and fade, or they take root and last. Speak with weight. Speak with presence. Speak as if every word is a seed, because it is.
There is a space between what happens and how you respond. Most people live as if that space doesn't exist. They react instantly, snapping back with words they later regret, rushing into decisions that only complicate things. But the intelligent woman, the wise man, they know the secret of that space. It's called the pause. 1. The power of pause. Think of the last time someone criticized you unexpectedly. Maybe it was at work. Maybe it was from a friend or even your spouse. What did you do? Did you react right away? Defend yourself? Argue back? The pause gives you something different. It's like holding a glass of water. Shake it quickly and it spills everywhere. Hold it still and the water settles. The pause is that stillness. It's the moment where you breathe, observe, and let your emotions settle before you act. And here's the paradox. Pausing doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. Because in that pause, you reclaim choice. You decide how to respond instead of letting anger, fear, or pride decide for you. Simple practice.
Whenever tension rises, take 3 slow breaths before speaking. Just 3. Watch how often those breaths save you from regret. 2. The balance of giving and receiving. Now, let's talk about balance. Many people, especially women, are taught that giving endlessly is the mark of love and value. They pour themselves out, at work, at home, in relationships, until nothing is left. And then they wonder why they feel empty, resentful, unseen. But here's the truth. Giving without receiving is like breathing out without breathing in. Try it. You won't last long. The intelligent woman understands this rhythm. She gives generously, but she also allows herself to receive, to accept help, kindness, rest, support. Not with guilt, but with gratitude. Think of a river. If it only flows out, it dries up. If it only receives without flowing out, it floods. But when it flows both ways, steady, balanced, it nourishes everything around it. So ask yourself, where in your life are you giving too much? Where are you refusing to receive? And how might your relationships change if you honored both sides of the flow? Balance is not selfish, it's sustainability. Without it, your flame, the one we spoke of earlier, burns out. With it, your flame grows brighter. 3. Walking with steadiness. Finally, let's talk about steadiness. Have you ever noticed how some people move through life like a storm, always rushing, stumbling, bumping into things, leaving chaos behind them? And then there are others. They walk slowly, but with presence. They don't trip over small obstacles. They don't get knocked down by every gust of wind. That's steadiness. It's not about speed. It's about being rooted, grounded, intentional. Imagine a tree. When the wind blows, the shallow tree is ripped from the soil, but the tree with deep roots sways, bends, and still stands. Walking with steadiness is the same. It shows up in your body, your posture, your pace, your breath. It shows up in your mind, calm, deliberate, unshaken by every little disturbance. And here's the quiet truth. People trust those who walk steadily. In relationships, steadiness creates safety. At work, it creates authority. In life, it creates peace. Practical step, try slowing your pace today. Walk as if every step matters. Breathe as if every breath carries dignity. You'll feel the shift, not only in yourself, but in how others respond to you. 4. Bringing them together. The pause, balance, and steadiness, they feed each other. The pause gives you clarity. Balance preserves your energy. Steadiness ensures that your clarity and energy flow into every step, every word, every decision. Together, they create a kind of quiet power. The kind that doesn't need to announce itself. The kind that others can feel in your presence. So let me leave you with 3 reflections. Where in your life do you react too quickly, forgetting the pause? Where are you giving without receiving, or receiving without giving? And where could you slow down, steady your steps, and let your presence speak louder than your speed? Closing. Life is full of noise and rushing, but wisdom is found in stillness, in balance, in steadiness. So today, as you move through your world, I invite you to practice one pause, one moment of balance, one act of steadiness. Because in the end, strength is not in how fast you move or how loud you speak. Strength is in how deeply you root, how calmly you walk, and how gracefully you give and receive. That is the power of pause. That is the beauty of balance. That is the dignity of walking with steadiness.
There's a wisdom hidden in simplicity, A wisdom that whispers, you don't need to know everything. You don't need to say yes to everything. And you don't need to fight every storm. Let's talk about 3 habits that carry this wisdom. Keeping your cup empty, learning the power of no, and mastering calm over chaos. 1. The empty cup. Imagine a cup already filled to the brim. Nothing new can enter. That's the mind of a person who believes they already know it all. They stop asking questions. They stop learning. They stop growing. But an empty cup, that's different. It's open. It's ready to be filled with fresh insight, new experiences, deeper understanding. The intelligent woman keeps her cup empty, not because she's ignorant, but because she's humble. She knows that every person she meets, every experience she faces, carries something she can learn. Think of a conversation. Most people listen just enough to prepare their reply, but the one with an empty cup listens to truly hear. Not just the words, but the tone, the hesitation, the silence in between. And in that space, wisdom is born. So let me ask you, when was the last time you approached a situation as if you knew nothing? When was the last time you let curiosity, not certainty, lead the way? Keeping your cup empty is not weakness, it's strength. It keeps your mind flexible, your spirit humble, and your relationships alive. Now let's talk about one of the hardest words in the English language: no. Most of us were raised to believe that saying yes makes us good, kind, valuable. And yes, generosity is beautiful. But indiscriminate yeses, they dilute your life. They drain your energy. They scatter your focus. Picture a lantern burning with light. If you let everyone take a little flame from it, soon nothing is left for you. Saying no is not cruelty. It's protection. It's placing the lantern carefully so it can shine longer, brighter, steadier. Boundaries are not rejection. They are direction. Every no you speak with clarity creates space for a deeper yes. A yes to what matters. A yes to the people and causes that truly deserve your light. Ask yourself, where in your life are your boundaries weak? Where are you giving away pieces of your time, your attention, your spirit, simply because you were afraid to say no? The intelligent woman says no not out of selfishness but out of wisdom, because she knows that her flame, once extinguished, cannot light anyone else's way. And finally, let's face the storms, because life will always bring them. Unexpected arguments, unkind words, sudden disappointments. Most people meet chaos with chaos. They react instantly, escalating the storm instead of calming it. But the intelligent woman knows a different way. She chooses calm over chaos. Now, calm is not passivity. It's not pretending nothing's wrong. Calm is mastery. It's the pause before the reply, the breath before the decision, the anchor that holds steady while the waves crash. And here's the beautiful part. Calm is contagious. When you stay centered in the middle of conflict, others feel it. Tension drops, voices soften, solutions appear. Ask yourself, in what situations do I allow my emotions to escalate the storm? And what might happen if just once I chose calm instead? Bringing them together. The empty cup keeps you open. The value of no keeps you strong. Calm over chaos keeps you steady. Together, they create a presence that is both soft and powerful, a presence people trust, respect, and remember. So here's your practice for today. In one conversation, listen as if your cup were empty. Ask one genuine question instead of preparing an answer. In one decision, say no where you would normally say yes. Protect your time, your energy, your flame. In one moment of tension, pause, take a breath, choose calm. Simple actions, but each one shapes your presence, your relationships, and your peace. Closing. Society tells us to speak more, say yes more, react faster. But wisdom tells us the opposite. Keep your cup empty so life can keep pouring wisdom in. Learn the value of no so your yes means something. And in every storm, remember, calm is not weakness. Calm is power. These are not loud habits. They won't get you applause or headlines, but they will give you something far more valuable: dignity, peace, and the kind of intelligence that needs no display. So today, as you move through your life, ask yourself, where can I stay open? Where must I say no? And where can I choose calm?
There is a kind of strength most people overlook. It isn't found in crowds or in endless conversations or in being surrounded by noise. It's found in the quiet, in solitude. 1. Solitude, the sanctuary within. Many fear solitude because they mistake it for loneliness. But solitude is not emptiness. It's sanctuary. It's the place where you return to yourself, where the noise of the world fades and the voice of your own heart grows clear. Picture a woman rising before dawn. She makes a cup of tea, sits by the window, and simply breathes. No phone, no distractions, just stillness. In that space, she reconnects with herself. She notices her thoughts, her feelings, her energy. She remembers what truly matters. Solitude is where roots grow deep. Think of a tree. It does not rely on the tree beside it to stand tall. It digs its own roots into the soil. In the same way, solitude strengthens your independence so that when you do connect with others, you do so from wholeness, not from need. So let me ask you, how often do you allow yourself moments of true solitude? Not scrolling, not multitasking, just being. What might you discover if you gave yourself 10 minutes of silence each day? 2. Energy mirrors emotion. Once you learn to be alone with yourself, you begin to notice something subtle. Your energy reflects your emotions. And your energy, whether you realize it or not, affects everyone around you. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the tension? No one had to say a word. You felt it in your body. Or maybe you've met someone whose calm presence instantly put you at ease. That's the power of energy. It speaks before words do. The intelligent woman observes her own state. She notices when she is agitated, anxious, or distracted, and she doesn't rush to act from that place. She pauses, realigns, and then responds. Because she knows that whatever energy she carries will ripple outward. Imagine a river. When the water is turbulent, it erodes the banks, scattering debris. But when it flows calmly, it nourishes, it sustains, it gives life.
Your energy works the same way. When scattered, it damages. When centered, it strengthens. Ask yourself, what energy am I carrying into my home, my work, my relationships? Am I scattering chaos or am I offering calm? And here is where wisdom deepens. Your inner state is shaped not only by solitude and self-awareness, but also by the people you choose to surround yourself with. Energy is contagious. Spend enough time with someone full of bitterness and you'll feel heavy. Spend enough time with someone alive with gratitude and your own spirit will rise. That's why the intelligent woman is selective about her companions. Not arrogant, not judgmental, but discerning. She asks, does this person nourish my flame or do they quietly consume it? Do they resonate with my values or do they pull me away from them? It takes courage to step back from relationships that drain you, but remember this, protecting your energy is not selfish, it's necessary. Because when you preserve your vitality, you have more to give where it truly matters. Think of music. 2 notes in harmony create beauty, but when they clash, the sound creates tension. In the same way, the people in your life either resonate with your energy or disrupt it. Wisdom is knowing the difference. So, how do we live this out, day by day? Let me offer a few simple practices. Solitude ritual. Start or end your day with 10 minutes of silence. No phone, no agenda, just awareness. Energy check. Throughout the day, pause and ask, what energy am I carrying right now? Adjust with a deep breath, a prayer, or a pause before moving forward. Companion audit. Write down the names of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Beside each name, note, do I feel nourished after being with them or drained? Let this guide your boundaries and your choices. Number 5, bringing them together. Solitude gives you clarity. Energy awareness gives you control. Choosing companions wisely gives you alignment. Together, they create a life that feels balanced, grounded, and harmonious. Because here's the truth. You cannot live with peace if your solitude is absent, your energy is scattered, and your companions are misaligned. But when solitude roots you, energy flows steadily, and companions resonate, you move through life with grace, presence, and quiet strength. So, today, I invite you to reflect. Where can you give yourself the gift of solitude? What energy are you bringing into the world right now? And who in your life resonates with your flame, and who quietly dims it? Answering these questions is not easy, but it's in these answers that your life begins to shift. Because the highly intelligent woman, the wise man, doesn't wait for the world to shape them. They cultivate solitude. They align their energy. They choose their companions with intention. And in doing so, they create not just a life, but an atmosphere, a presence, a harmony that others can feel the moment they walk into the room.
Most people think power comes from talking louder, moving faster, pushing harder. But the truth is, real power often moves quietly. It listens more than it speaks. It stands firm without shouting, and it knows how to release what no longer serves it. Let's walk together through 3 habits that carry this kind of power: listening, gentle strength, and letting go with grace. 1. Listening more than speaking. Think about the last time you felt truly heard, not interrupted, not rushed, not judged, just listened to. How rare was that? Most of us listen only to reply. We wait for our turn to speak, already preparing our answer while the other person is still talking. But the intelligent woman listens differently. She listens fully, patiently. She hears not just the words, but the pauses, the hesitations, the tremble in someone's voice. She sees what is left unsaid. This is why listening is not passive. It is active, it's presence, it's attention, and it changes everything. In a world full of voices competing to be heard, the one who truly listens becomes magnetic. People are drawn to her because she makes them feel understood. And trust me, understanding is more powerful than agreement. So here's a small practice. In your next conversation, resist the urge to fill silence. Pause. Nod. Let the other person add more. Watch how the truth deepens when you simply make space. 2. Gentle strength. Now, let's talk about strength. Too often we think of strength as force, pushing harder, standing taller, being louder. But gentle strength is different. It doesn't need to show off, it doesn't need to dominate. Gentle strength is steady, grounded, patient. It's like water flowing over stone, slowly, quietly, but with a persistence that shapes mountains. Imagine a woman criticized unfairly in a meeting. Instead of snapping back, she pauses, she breathes. And when she speaks, her words are calm, measured, undeniable. That is gentle strength. Her presence carries authority not because she demanded it, but because she embodied it. Gentle strength is also emotional discipline. Anyone can lose their temper, anyone can let anger or fear take control, but the one who stays composed in the storm, that is the one people trust, respect, and follow. So ask yourself, where in your life can you practice gentle strength? Where can you hold your ground without hostility, respond without aggression, stand firm without shouting? 3. Letting go with grace. Life will always give us reasons to cling. Relationships, outcomes, expectations, even old wounds. But clinging too tightly creates suffering. The intelligent woman knows this. She practices letting go with grace. She doesn't deny her feelings, and she doesn't pretend loss doesn't hurt, but she also doesn't let the weight of the past steal the light of the present. Picture a tree in autumn. Its leaves turn golden, then fall. The tree doesn't fight to hold on. It lets go, knowing that release is part of renewal. In the same way, letting go is not defeat, it's liberation. It creates space for new beginnings, for healing, for growth. Maybe, for you, it's letting go of a friendship that has run its course. Maybe it's releasing an expectation that keeps you leaving disappointed. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for something long past. Whatever it is, letting go with grace doesn't weaken you, it frees you. So ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? And how would my life feel lighter if I released it today? 4. Bringing them together. Listening makes you aware. Gentle strength makes you steady. Letting go makes you free. Together, they form a triad of quiet power. A power that doesn't shout, but is deeply felt. A power that transforms not just how you live, but how others feel in your presence. Because here's the truth. People don't remember the loudest person in the room. They remember the one who made them feel heard. The one who stayed calm when others panicked. The one who let go instead of clinging to bitterness. That is a power you can't fake. That is a power you cultivate. 5. Practical reflections. So here are 3 small practices for you to try. Practice listening. In your next conversation, focus only on listening. Don't plan your reply. Don't rush the silence. Just be present. Practice gentle strength. The next time you feel provoked, pause, breathe, Respond with calm clarity instead of reaction. Practice letting go. Write down one thing you've been holding on to, a grudge, an expectation, a regret. Then, with intention, choose to release it, even just for today. Closing. In a noisy world, listening is rare. In a harsh world, gentle strength is refreshing. In a clinging world, letting go with grace is revolutionary. So today, as you move through your life, ask yourself, where can I listen instead of speak? Where can I stand firm without force? And where can I release instead of clinging? Because the woman or man who listens, who embodies gentle strength, who lets go with grace, carries a presence that cannot be ignored. A presence that whispers quietly but powerfully. This is wisdom. This is dignity. This is freedom.
Time. We measure it in hours, in days, in years. But in truth, time is measured in presence, in how deeply we live each moment, and how aligned our actions are with our values. The intelligent woman knows this. She doesn't rush through life trying to do everything. She chooses wisely, reflects deeply, and disciplines herself with joy. Let's explore 3 habits that shape this kind of life: mastering time, practicing reflection, and cultivating joyful discipline. 1. Mastering time. Most people treat time like an enemy, something that slips away too quickly, something they're always chasing. But the intelligent woman treats time as a sacred resource. She doesn't measure her day only by how much she got done, but whether she invested her energy where it truly mattered. Think about your mornings. Do you jump straight into urgency, emails, news, obligations? Or do you pause, breathe, and ask, what deserves my energy today? Mastering time is not about cramming more tasks into your schedule. It's about aligning your hours with your priorities. It's about knowing the difference between what is urgent and what is important. Here's a simple practice. Each morning, write down the top 3 things that truly matter that day. Not 10, not 20, just 3. If you do those with presence, your day is already rich. And here's another layer of wisdom. Notice your own rhythms. Some hours you are sharper, clearer, more creative. Other hours your energy is low. Align your hardest tasks with your peak energy and save your lighter tasks for when your mind is tired. This is not just productivity, it's respect for yourself. Ask yourself, how would my life feel different if I stopped chasing time and instead began shaping it with intention? 2. Reflection. Experience alone doesn't make us wise. It's reflection that turns experience into wisdom. The intelligent woman takes time to step back, to ask, what did I learn today? What mistake can become a lesson? What success can become a habit? Think of reflection as a mirror. Without it, we walk around with blind spots, repeating the same patterns, reacting the same way, stuck in the same cycles. But when we pause to reflect, the mirror shows us what we couldn't see in the moment. A simple evening ritual can change your life. Before bed, ask yourself 3 questions. What gave me energy today? What drained me? What will I do differently tomorrow? Even 5 minutes of reflection can transform how you live the next day. The Stoics practiced this nightly. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal not for anyone else to read, but to sharpen his own soul. Reflection isn't indulgence, it's training. So let me ask you, do you carry your days into tomorrow without ever learning from them? Or do you take the time to turn today's experiences into tomorrow's wisdom? 3. Joyful discipline. Now, discipline. Most people hear that word and think of struggle, restriction, burden. But discipline, when rooted in joy, is freedom. Think of a dancer. Her movements look effortless, but behind that grace is practice, repetition, commitment. Over time, the discipline becomes second nature, and the joy is in the flow. The intelligent woman applies discipline in the same way. She creates daily rituals that align with her values. She keeps her word to herself. She shows up consistently, not because someone else is watching, but because it nourishes her integrity. And here's the secret. When discipline is tied to meaning, it doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like care, like respect, like love for yourself. Maybe for you, it's a morning walk, a meditation, writing in a journal, or focusing deeply on one task at a time. Whatever it is, approach it not as a chore, but as a practice of presence. Ask yourself, where in my life can I shift discipline from obligation to joy, from pressure to purpose? 4. Bringing them together. Time, reflection, discipline. Mastering time gives you intention. Reflection gives you wisdom. Discipline gives you consistency. Together, they create a life that feels steady, aligned, and free. You stop living reactively, always chasing, always regretting, and start living deliberately. Each day becomes a practice. Each moment becomes meaningful. This is the difference between drifting through life and living it with presence. 5. Practical reflections. So, here are 3 practices you can try this week. Morning time check. Before you begin your day, ask, what deserves my energy today? Choose 3 priorities. Evening reflection. End your day by asking, what gave me life today? What drained me? What will I carry into tomorrow? Joyful ritual. Pick one discipline that matters to you. Maybe it's a stretching, writing, prayer, or focused work. Do it daily, not as a duty, but as an act of self-respect. Closing. Time is fleeting. Reflection is clarifying. Discipline is liberating. So today, I invite you to master your time, not by rushing, but by aligning. To reflect, not with judgment, but with curiosity. And to discipline yourself, not with harshness, but with joy. Because wisdom is not found in knowing more, it's found in living wisely what you already know. And when you master your time, reflect on your life, and practice joyful discipline, you carry yourself with a presence that others feel immediately. Calm, steady, intentional. That, my friend, is the quiet power of intelligence.
As we close, remember this. True intelligence doesn't rush, it doesn't demand, it doesn't scatter itself in 1,000 directions. It lives in the quiet disciplines, the pause before you speak, the strength of a boundary, the grace of letting go, the calm in the storm. These habits may look small, but practiced daily, they shape your life in ways others will feel even if they can't explain why. Your presence becomes steadier, your energy clearer, your relationships deeper. So I invite you, don't just watch this video and move on. Choose one idea that resonated with you. Practice it today. Notice how it changes the way you feel, the way you respond, the way others respond to you. Wisdom is never gained by hearing alone. It comes from living what you've learned. And if this message spoke to you, stay with us. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and continue this journey of cultivating a quieter, stronger, wiser way of living. Because in the end, intelligence isn't about knowing more. It's about living with presence, with dignity, and with strength that speaks even in silence.